Hello, friends, and welcome back to Timeless Wisdom. Have you ever wondered if that strange feeling you notice right when you wake up, maybe a little tingling, a heavy head, or some tightness in your chest, could actually be your body's way of sending an important message? As we get older, it's common to brush off these signals, blaming them on a bad night's sleep or not drinking enough water. But what many people don't realize is that some of these early morning sensations can be the body's first warning signs of something serious. Today, I want to share 5 early morning symptoms that you should never ignore. These aren't just small annoyances. They could be early alerts for conditions like strokes or heart problems, especially after the age of 60. Recognizing these warning signs could be the key to preventing something much more dangerous down the road, for you or someone you care about. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to watch for every morning, and you might just be able to help someone else stay safe too. So, let's dive in and learn how to listen to those early signals from our bodies. Sign 1. Sudden weakness on one side of the body. Waking up and realizing that one side of your body feels weak or even numb is one of the most urgent red flags you can experience. This isn't something to brush off as I must have slept wrong or my arm's just asleep. Sudden weakness, especially isolated to one side, is a classic and early sign of a stroke. And here's the part most people don't realize. Many strokes actually happen while you sleep. So, when you first open your eyes in the morning, you may already be hours into a medical emergency without even knowing it. The reason this kind of weakness happens is due to how strokes work. A stroke occurs when blood flow to a part of the brain is interrupted, either by a clot or a bleed. The part of your brain that controls the muscles on one side of your body suddenly can't do its job. That's why your right arm might feel like dead weight, or your left leg might refuse to cooperate when you try to get out of bed. The change can be subtle or severe, but either way, it's not normal aging. It's a silent emergency, and time is everything. Let me tell you about Henry, a 76-year-old retired teacher from Michigan. One morning, he woke up and noticed his left arm felt unusually heavy. He tried to lift it but couldn't. At first, he thought maybe he'd slept on it funny, but his wife noticed something else. His smile was slightly crooked, and his words were a little slurred. She didn't hesitate. She called for help immediately, and it turned out Henry had suffered a mild stroke during the night. Because they acted fast, he received treatment in time and made a full recovery with physical therapy. Stories like Henry's remind us why awareness is power. If you ever wake up and something doesn't feel right, if one side of your face, arm, or leg feels weak or numb, don't ignore it. Don't assume it'll go away. You don't need to panic, but you do need to act quickly. Call emergency services and get checked out. It's far better to be safe and find out it's nothing than to wait and lose precious time that could save your life. So remember, sudden weakness on one side of the body is not something to take lightly, especially if it greets you first thing in the morning. Your body may be whispering a warning you can't afford to miss. Sign 2. Difficulty speaking or slurred words. You wake up, sit on the edge of your bed, and go to say good morning to your spouse. Or maybe you try talking to yourself the way some of us do when we get up. But what comes out doesn't sound right. Maybe your words are slurred, your tongue feels heavy, or you can't seem to form a simple sentence clearly. That moment of confusion of trying to speak and not being able to more than just a morning fog. It can be a critical warning from your brain that something is seriously wrong. Difficulty speaking, especially when it comes on suddenly, is one of the clearest early signs of a stroke. Just like weakness on one side of the body, the symptom can creep in while you're asleep and only become apparent once you try to use your voice in the morning. And it's not just about slurred speech. It could be that you know what you want to say but can't find the words, or you're saying words that don't make sense and you don't realize it. It can feel frustrating or even frightening, like your mind is working but your mouth won't cooperate. The brain is divided into regions, and specific areas control language. If a stroke affects these areas, the ability to speak or understand speech can be suddenly disrupted. That's why the medical community takes speech changes so seriously. Slurred or confused speech in the morning isn't something to wait and see. It requires immediate attention. Delaying could mean missing the window for treatment that might prevent lifelong disability. Let me share the story of Marilyn, an 82-year-old grandmother from Arizona. One morning, she called her daughter as she always did, but her daughter noticed something odd. Marilyn was speaking slowly, and her words were garbled. She insisted she felt fine, but her daughter didn't take any chances. She drove over and brought Marilyn straight to the hospital. Sure enough, Marilyn had experienced a small stroke, but because they acted fast, the damage was limited, and her speech returned to normal with therapy. That's the power of paying attention. A small slur, a few mixed up words, these aren't just harmless quirks of age. They can be your brain's way of saying, "Help me now." The key is not to hesitate. If your speech is suddenly not working the way it should, especially when you first wake up, get medical attention immediately. Don't wait for it to get worse. Don't assume it's just the morning grogginess. You know your own voice. If something sounds off, trust that instinct. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Sign 3. Sudden vision problems. You open your eyes in the morning, expecting to see the soft light peeking through the curtains, but something doesn't look right. One side of your vision is blurry, or maybe you notice a dark patch in the corner of your eye. It's not the usual fuzziness that clears up after a few blinks, it's different. And if you find yourself squinting, tilting your head, or even bumping into things you normally wouldn't, that's your cue. Your body is trying to tell you something urgent. Sudden changes in vision, especially right after waking, can be another red flag for a stroke. The eyes may be the window to the soul, but they're also directly connected to your brain. If blood flow is cut off to the parts of the brain responsible for processing vision, you might experience blurred vision, double vision, or complete loss of sight in one eye. And because this change might not come with pain, it's easy to dismiss, especially if your vision slowly improves or fluctuates. Many older adults chalk this up to just getting older or maybe a bad night's sleep. But here's the truth. When vision is suddenly altered, especially if it's only affecting one eye or one side of your visual field, it's time to act fast. Strokes affecting the occipital lobe or the optic nerve don't always cause other dramatic symptoms like slurred speech or paralysis. Sometimes they show up quietly through the eyes. Let me tell you about a man named Carl, 76 years old, living in Michigan. One morning, he woke up and saw only a gray blur in the right side of his vision. He thought maybe it was just a smudge on his glasses, but after cleaning them, nothing changed. Fortunately, his wife insisted he go to urgent care. They discovered he'd had a minor stroke affecting the visual processing area of his brain. Carl got treatment quickly and regained much of his vision within a few weeks. But had he waited, that might not have been the case. There's no shame in taking action when something doesn't feel right. Seniors often worry about making a fuss or being seen as overreacting, but you have to remember, your life experience has given you a sharp instinct. If your eyes are telling you something's off, listen to them. Don't wait until the lights go completely out. Blurred vision, double vision, or partial blindness upon waking isn't just sleep in your eyesight. Could be your only warning. And if it is, you need to act fast. Call for help. Get to the hospital. Because when it comes to strokes and sudden vision loss, every second saved could mean years of sight preserved. Sign 4. Slurred or garbled speech. You roll out of bed, stretch, and head to the kitchen for your morning coffee. But as you open your mouth to greet your spouse or maybe talk to your dog, something strange happens. The words stumble. You know what you want to say, but it comes out jumbled. Maybe your tongue feels thick, or perhaps your sentences just don't make sense even to your own ears. You pause, blink, try again, but it's still wrong. That's not just a senior moment, it's a danger signal that your brain might be under attack. Slurred or nonsensical speech can be a major sign of a stroke, and it's one of the most overlooked. While many people associate strokes with drooping faces or paralyzed arms, speech disruption is just as critical and often the first thing others notice. What's tricky is that when it happens early in the morning, you might think you're just tired or dehydrated. But if it persists even after a drink of water or a few deep breaths, it's time to act fast. Speech issues come from damage to the parts of the brain that control language and motor function. If a clot blocks blood flow to those areas, your ability to speak or comprehend language can be impaired almost instantly. And what's especially concerning is that many older adults try to play it off. They say, "Oh, I just didn't sleep well," or "Give me a second, I'll be fine." But those few seconds can turn into lost minutes. And in stroke treatment, every minute counts. Psychologically, there's a layer of fear here. For many seniors, speech is identity. It's how you share your stories, your thoughts, your love. So, when speech falters, the fear of losing yourself, not just your words, can be overwhelming. That fear can trigger silence. You might pull away, hoping no one will notice. But silence in that moment is the last thing you need. You need support, not secrecy. Take, for instance, a woman named Diane, 73 years old, from Nevada. She always started her day with a call to her daughter. One morning, her daughter picked up and couldn't understand a word Diane was saying. She sounded drunk, even though she hadn't had a drink in decades. Her daughter panicked and called 911. Diane had suffered a stroke, but she was treated within the golden hour and made a full recovery. Her daughter's quick actions saved her life. It's easy to ignore slurred speech when it's not accompanied by pain. But the absence of pain doesn't mean the absence of danger. If your words feel wrong, or if someone tells you they sound off, believe them. Your brain may be fighting for oxygen, and that's not a battle you want to delay. Don't brush it off. Don't wait for it to get worse. Take action. Slurred speech, mumbling, or confusion in the morning should never be chalked up to aging alone. If it's new, if it's sudden, and especially if it's paired with other signs like weakness or vision trouble, get to the hospital right away. Because when it comes to strokes, your voice might be the first thing that goes, but it doesn't have to be lost forever. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Sign 5. Sudden loss of balance or coordination. You get out of bed and suddenly feel like the floor isn't where it's supposed to be. You might wobble, stumble, or have to grab onto a dresser just to stay upright. Maybe your legs feel like they're made of jelly, or your steps don't land where you expect them to. It's easy to chalk this up to stiffness, or maybe even the effects of a bad night's sleep. But make no mistake, if you wake up and your balance is suddenly off, you could be dealing with something far more serious than just being groggy. Loss of coordination is one of the most overlooked early signs of a stroke. Brain bleed, or even a transient ischemic attack, what doctors call a mini stroke. These events can cause momentary disruptions in the brain's ability to control movement, and the result can feel like you've suddenly forgotten how to walk in a straight line. What makes this so dangerous is how easily it can be dismissed. People often say, "I must have slept on my leg wrong," or "I just got up too fast." But deep down, if it feels off, it probably is. Neurologically, balance is a complex process involving your brain, inner ear, eyes, and muscles. When any part of that system is compromised, say, by a small clot or a brief interruption in blood flow, your stability can disappear in seconds. And unlike muscle weakness, which you might notice in one limb, balance loss affects your whole body. You may feel disoriented, dizzy, or like the room is spinning. If it comes on suddenly, without warning, that's a red flag you should never ignore. There's also an emotional layer to this. Losing balance doesn't just make you physically unstable, it shakes your confidence. You start doubting yourself. You become more cautious, more hesitant. Some people even stop walking around their own home without holding onto walls or furniture. Over time, this fear of falling can lead to social withdrawal, depression, or even a higher risk of permanent disability because you're not moving your body the way it needs to stay strong. Let me tell you about a man named Walter, 76 years old, from Oregon. One morning, he stepped out of bed and immediately stumbled into his closet door. He wasn't dizzy and he hadn't tripped over anything, but he couldn't keep his balance. His wife insisted they go to the hospital. It turned out Walter had suffered a mini stroke that didn't leave lasting damage but served as a serious warning. Because they caught it early, doctors were able to start treatment and help prevent a larger stroke that could have come next. Too often, seniors wait for symptoms to stack up before seeking help. But waiting is a gamble, and the odds get worse with time. If your balance suddenly changes, if you feel off-center, unsteady, or your legs just don't respond the way they normally do, get checked out immediately. Don't wait to fall and hope you can explain it later. By then, it could be too late. So, if one morning your body tells you something isn't right, especially in how you move, listen to it. Your body speaks in whispers before it screams. Catching those whispers early might be the difference between walking confidently and not walking at all. Sign 6. Chest tightness or pressure upon waking. You open your eyes and feel that strange, heavy sensation right in the middle of your chest. It's not sharp pain, not exactly. It might feel more like someone sitting on your chest or like a tight band wrapping around your upper body. Some folks describe it as a squeezing or fullness. You sit up, hoping it'll pass. Maybe you blame it on the way you slept, or think it's just indigestion. But here's the truth. If you wake up and your chest doesn't feel right, you need to treat that as a medical emergency. Chest tightness is one of the most common early morning warning signs of a heart attack, especially in older adults. Why morning? Because your body's stress hormones naturally spike when you wake up. Your blood becomes a little thicker, your heart beats faster, and if there's already some blockage in your arteries, this is when it's most likely to turn into a full-blown crisis. Many heart attacks happen in the early hours between 5 and 10 a.m., when you're just waking up and thinking about making your coffee. What's especially dangerous is how subtle this sign can be. Unlike the movie version of a heart attack, you might not clutch your chest or fall to the floor. Instead, it may feel like tightness, burning, discomfort that moves to your back, jaw, or left arm, or just a general sense that something isn't right. Some people feel unusually fatigued, short of breath, or even nauseous. If these symptoms appear suddenly when you wake up and don't go away within a few minutes, that's your cue. Don't wait to see if it passes. Call for help. There's also a psychological trap here. Many older adults, especially men, don't want to make a fuss. They fear going to the hospital for something that might turn out to be nothing. But when it comes to your heart, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Denial doesn't protect you, only delays the treatment that could save your life. Early treatment can limit damage to the heart muscle, reduce complications, and increase your odds of recovery by a huge margin. Let me tell you about Harold, a 72-year-old former mechanic from Ohio. One morning, he woke up feeling like he had slept under a pile of bricks. His chest felt tight, but he didn't think much of it. He figured it was indigestion from the late-night chili he ate. But when the feeling hadn't gone away after 20 minutes and his arm started to tingle, he remembered what he'd heard in a health class and called 911. Doctors told him that decision saved his life. He was having a heart attack, but because he acted quickly, they were able to treat it with minimal damage. If you feel pressure, tightness, or pain in your chest right when you wake up, do not lie back down and hope it disappears. This is not the time to be tough, it's the time to be smart. Your heart has carried you through decades of life, love, and laughter. It deserves your attention, and your family deserves to have you around a little longer. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Final thoughts. Each morning brings a fresh start, but it's easy to forget that our bodies sometimes whisper important messages as soon as we wake. As the years pass, we might notice a small twitch, an odd sensation, or a feeling that's just a bit off. These moments may seem minor, but often they are gentle reminders from our bodies to pay closer attention. Choosing to notice these early signals can make all the difference for your health and peace of mind. This isn't about living in fear, it's about empowering yourself with awareness and confidence. No one wants to rush to the doctor for every little thing, but it's always better to be careful than to miss something truly important. Sometimes, that strange feeling or sudden confusion in the morning could be the warning that saves your life. You've invested a lifetime in building precious memories and relationships. You deserve to safeguard your health with the same dedication. Today, we discussed 5 morning warning signs like unexpected weakness, shortness of breath, sudden confusion, dizziness, and chest discomfort. These aren't just minor annoyances. They're your body's way of asking for help. Don't let uncertainty or hesitation hold you back from taking care of yourself. Remember, being cautious is a sign of strength and self-respect. Think of all the beautiful moments still waiting for you: a family celebration, a quiet cup of tea, or a peaceful walk outside. You owe it to yourself and your loved ones to be present for every one of them. Starting tomorrow, take a moment to listen to your body when you wake up. If something doesn't feel right, don't ignore it. Trust your instincts. Early action could make all the difference in living a longer, healthier, and more joyful life. Thank you so much for joining us on Timeless Wisdom today. If you learned something helpful, let us know in the comments below. Share one thing that stood out and how you'll use it in your daily life. Your feedback means the world to us and helps inspire new videos. If you found this video valuable, please give it a like, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom, and share it with friends or family who might benefit. Your support helps us keep creating meaningful content to inform and uplift our wonderful community. Take care, stay well, and we'll see you next time right here on Timeless Wisdom.